online portal. I think we have taken your perspective in mind to help you, manage this process and also to assist your residents to have them more easily submit their appeal. And this tool, you'll find this tool to be useful for your role throughout this appeal period. So I want to thank you guys again for all your hard work, for all your support with our outreach, and I want to thank you in advance of the beginning of this appeal period. So I'm always available for any questions if anyone has any, either after this call or anytime in the future. So thank you again, and with that, I'm going to hand this over to Samara.
Okay, thanks, Thomas. So everybody, my name is Samara Ebser, and I also work on the RAM team. And I will give you a bit more information about the preliminary flood map feedback portal, and just talk about it briefly, and then we'll get into an actual demonstration of how community officials can use this tool during the appeal process. So, like Thomas mentioned, FEMA Region 2 has developed this tool to support the appeal period for communities who are affected by the coastal flood study that's currently underway. The portal will allow community officials and the public to do will be to actually submit their and comments online about preliminary firms and flood insurance study reports. It will allow community officials to review and comment on submissions that are submitted members of the public before they go to FEMA for review and resolution. And it begins to make it easier for community officials and the public to submit, but also to understand the status of middles, and for community officials to manage all of the different submittals for them and that affect their community, either that are submitted by the community themselves or by members of the public. It's encouraged, but it's not required. If members of the public or community officials prefer to submit copies of their submittals or by mail, direct to their community officials, the public, or directly to FEMA by community officials, then they're welcome to do that. To access the portal, you'll be through the region2coastal.com website that hopefully most of you know about. On the screen, there's a new page devoted to the appeal period on the site right now, and you'll be able to access the portal directly through that page. And it'll also be obvious on the home page as well how you can get to the portal. Tools will receive their login credentials by email, and you should be credentials tomorrow through email account. Now, public will actually have to register in order to use the portal, so it's a slightly different process for your residents. I urge you to share information about the portal with your residents and encourage them to use it. And we're actually finalizing a fact sheet that you can actually use to share that information with residents through the web or as handouts, that things or whatnot. So that to be able through the region2coastal.com website, and we'll also email that out to you as well. One specific situation I want to mention is that if you do choose to use the portal to manage appeal and comments that affect your community, if you receive directly from your residents a submit that they mail to you or they email to you, rather than you enter it yourself into the portal using the process we're going to show you in just a minute, if you could send it to the email that's on your screen, and we'll address on all of our outreach materials as well, and on directly on the portal, so you have it. But if you send that submittal directly to that email address so that it's clear who the person submitting that information actually is. I mean, it's being submitted by one of your residents or another member of the public. It's specifically being submitted to you as the community official. So just wanted to make that clear. So let's jump into the demo now. It's going to be organized into seven parts. First of all, I'm going to give an overview of what the portal, the front pages actually look like, and take you to the community official dashboard where you'll be able to view all the submittals that affect your community and action on submittals, which I'll go into more detail about in just a minute. And then you can actually submit your own appeals and comments through it as well. So I'm going to go to the home page. So this is the home screen you'll see for the portal, and it dives into four different sections here. The first one is pretty self-explanatory. This is where you'll either log in, or if you're public, you'll use this link to actually use the portal. But again, if you're a community official, you don't need to do that because you'll receive those credentials via email separately. There's also an overview that gives a little background information about the appeal period and the portal and what it allows you to do here. It also gives you information about if you submit information using a method besides the portal. It provides a link to the mailing address and information about how to do that. We also have you that provide answers to some questions related to the appeal process, and the portal provides information about who you need to contact if you have a question or a technical issue. It provides information about how you started using the portal and information about the submittal requirements. In that section, there's a listing of helpful resources, including user guides. We'll also be posting a tutorial video here that will walk users step by step through the submittal process, and some links to general information about the map update process and the period as well. So what I do is log in as a community official and show what that community official dashboard will look like when you as a community official log in to the site. Okay, in here and divided into a few different sections. At the top here, this table here will include all of the submittals that affect your community, include submittals that you yourself, if your community is submitting an appeal or a comment, and you submit through the process we'll talk about in a little bit by creating a new submittal. Also include submittals from members of the public who submit their request through the tool as well. And it shows you, you'll see there'll be a unique tracking ID associated with each different request. There'll be information about the status for this particular request, the date it was originally submitted, and the date it was last edited. So, for example, if I click a particular row, you'll see that section and the sections below populate, and I can see more information about the status for a particular request. And you'll see for this here, currently it's in the community official review step. Where the community official will review this request from a member of the public, and you can add any comments you'd like to add about the request, if you did, or if you disagree with it, have more information to add, or you don't have to add a comment at all if you don't want to. So I'll show you how to do that in a minute, but one other thing I wanted to show you is record selected, and you click review selection, you'll be able to see all of the information that was said for this request. So you'll have the name of the requester, their contact information, if they uploaded data as part of their submittal, there'll be a hyperlink in here you'll be able to click on to access that data. You'll be able to see what the particular area of concern is, to draw a location on a map, to pinpoint area of concern, and if that will be shown on the map here. And the annotations section here is the place where, if you would like to, after you review the information that was provided as part of this submittal, that you could add your comments on it. And that, what you would do is click on select action bar right down at the bottom, and you add annotation. Continue, and then in any comments if you would like, but again, it is required that you do so. So I'm just going to say, I with this all, I believe that these are in this area. So once I'm what I'd like to type in, I'll click on Update Annotation, that message indicating that it's been received. And to find this and send it to FEMA for FEMA to perform their review of the request, I'll select it to FEMA from the drop-down list. Select sure you'd like to update the status of this submittal, and then click on Continue. The status of that particular request will be updated to submit it to FEMA for review. One other thing is you can search here by, if you have a submittal ID, you type this in to find it. If you have a lot of records in your queue, it would be helpful. You could also export this table to Excel or CPAT, or you can copy it if you'd like to copy it into an document you have just for tracking purposes. And another thing I wanted to point out is this alert box down here will also refresh based on what step in the process a particular request is in, just to emphasize if there's any action that you need to take for this particular request. Another thing is that once the public has submitted their feed through the tool, next step in the process would be for the FEMA team to and just do a quick sanity check to make sure that there is substance to the particular request and it's not just the profane content or is in, thing completely unrelated to the appeals process. We don't expect that to happen a lot of the time, but it certainly may happen. So we don't want to be forwarding to you disrespectful content or profane content that people use the internet. So, for example, this item here, rejected by gatekeeper. If you see that, that's what that means, is that that particular request did not make first cut, and so it's been, that particular request has been closed. The FEMA gatekeeper does particular request and determines that it makes that first cut and there's something of sub in this request, then she will get to the next step, and that would be that sent you step where you, as the community official, would perform your review that I just showed you. You'll actually get an email to you that one of these that messages come in requires your action, just so that you know what's going on and you don't have to continually have to log in to see when in your queue. You will email notifications at other key steps in the workflow, the process as well. So, for example, when a letter is actually issued, a resolution letter, as is the standard practice, will be mailed to you, a community official, and to the member of the public as needed. But you'll also get an email through the system and include a PDF copy of that resolution letter as well. Similarly, additional data is determined is needed part of a particular request. You'll get notification for that as well. And the thing you can do through the tool is an additional data request has been issued by FEMA. The additional data item here in the drop-down list, that will be active, and you'll actually be able to up additional data through the portal if you would like to. And to that, one letter has been issued. There's a 30-day period from the into that resolution letter will be able to, where you as the CEO or the floodplain administrator for the community will be able to add your comments if you disagree with what's in that resolution letter. You'll have that opportunity, as will the public, if the person submitting who originally submitted the feedback. You can actually add about that particular resolution letter within that 30-day window through the tool if you would like to do that as well. And another thing to point out is this dropped here on this page. You get the same options if you review selection. And this is information you'll see here. You can use either one and you get the same result. So what next is turn things over to Nadia Dawson of the RAM team as well, and she's going to show you how to create your own submission and submit your feedback, your appeal or comment through the portal, and essentially be the same workflow that the public would use as well to create their own submittal too.
Okay, so to create a new submittal, you'll go to the Action section of your dashboard at the bottom, and you will click on Create New Submittal. Continue. Let me hack in. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that over again. Okay. The portal knows what area, what community you're in because of your login credentials, but you do have to select your area of concern, and you can use from single property, one or more areas in a single community, one or more areas in multiple communities, one or counties, an entire state, or the intercoastal study area. I'm going to choose one or more areas in multiple in this community, because that's likely what most of you will have.
Hey, Dana, are you sharing your desktop?
I was the presenter.
I think you can share your desktop.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Samara. Let's see. Okay, everyone, can you now?
We can see a Word document.
Okay. Okay. So you can see the screen now.
Yep, we see it.
Okay, let's see. So I'll back up a little bit. So when you click on Create New Submittal, this is the screen you will go to, ask you for your area of concern. And different options, but I will go and use the one or more areas in a single community, which is likely what many of you will be doing. And we'll just use an example. I will say, and I will put in the county. I'll use Atlantic. I'll say, and I'll hit mute to move on. It's optional, however, you can refer area of concern on the map. You can use the search address field to type in an address. Now let's type in the state to get there. So you can type in the address and then click on the search button. And you can zoom in and zoom out buttons on the map, and you can use mouse to scroll to specific areas on the map. If you want to draw an area on the map, you would click on this Create Outlines button, and you can draw around your area of concern. You just click and hold the mouse down, and you can draw an area of concern. If I could help the area. And then once you've done that, you can click on continue. What your concern is with the preliminary firm of FIS report. In addition, you could even have a concern about new or updated flood hazard information. Your concern may be with other map or report features besides flood hazard information, or you could have a concern about both the flood information and other map report features. And I'll click on the last option so you'll see the different screens for each option. So I just could get to this screen. And if you did select that you had a concern with flood hazard information, this is the first screen you'll see. You can choose whether your concern is with base elevations or base flood depths, plain or flood rate boundaries, and so nations, or hazard analysis method you use, or you could have another concern. So yes, flood elevations, and yes, the hazard analysis methodology. And of course, if you have another concern, you can just type that in the text field. You click on continue. You'll within topographic information in support of your concern. I'll click on so you can see what pops up. So if you submit in topographic information, you would just type in the date that topographic information was provided. You would type in the date you're using. And then you could in a contour, interval, or equivalent. And then we'll check on the option your information has been certified by a professional land surveyor, engineer, or other professional. Click on you. And then you can also submit in revised coastal flood hazard analysis in support of your concern. And I'll click on yes. And you'll see the options that pop up. You may be submitting overland wave modeling, storm modeling, or other type of data, which you can type in. And you would just select for either any of the options. You can do more than one. It doesn't have to be just one option. And if I continue, I'll go to the next screen, and I can note whether I'm submitting a revised marine flood hazard analysis in support of my concern. And if I click yes, you'll see the options you have. You may be submitting a hydraulic analysis or a hydrologic analysis. And if you have a type of analysis, you can type that in the text box. You also submit in revised floodplain zone or floodway boundaries in support of your concern. And yes or no, so see any additional information that you would have to add, and I'll continue. Now this screen, if you said that your concern was with something other than new or updated flood hazard information, for example, you may have a concern with road names, flood and source names, corporate, or some other type of feature, features, whether it's the orthophotography, clarity, or datum. So depending on what you can select those options. Then note if you are submitting a preliminary firm panel that you've marked up with your updates or any other type of support information. Now, if you discuss concern with the firm or the report, so you can either type that information in here. If you wanted to upload a file instead of typing in the information, you would just hit on continue. And you can browse, you can the file that you have and do it. You're only able to upload one file, so if you do have multiple files, upload a zip file. So once you file, you can just click on upload. On the you're agreeing to the terms that the information that you've submitted will be made accessible to community officials and FEMA representatives only to determine the changes needed to the firm or FIS report. So you just agree to those terms, and then you just submit your data by clicking on Submit button. And you submit your request, and you will get email information as well. Submittal will appear in the symbol up top. I'm not sure if that will, yes, so here we have ours on the bottom. It will say submitted to FEMA for review.
Are there any about that submittal process or the community official dashboard that I went over? Okay, so if not, what we can, let's see, so we have some additional, I just want to mention a few additional resources that will be available to you in terms of using the portal. I showed you the FAQ on the home screen. Again, we're working on a tutorial video that walks folks step by step through the process. And there'll also be step-by-step user guides for both community officials and the public that walk them through these different processes that we outlined as well. The coastal.com appeal page has a lot of great information about the appeal period in general, submittal requirements, data requirements. It will provide the an end date to the appeal period by community, because there are some differences. There's a difference of a day or two for which county or community you may be in. Again, for any technical questions or any issues with upload data or whatever, the reading to coastal at ramteam.com address. We can slip that in, and also we have Thomas Song's contact information as well, who is available to as well. So any questions, any last questions or any questions before we wrap things up? Okay, again, we'll be sending out the credentials portal tomorrow, and we'll also be sending that outreach fact sheet that you can use to communicate with your residents about the portal as well. And otherwise, we hope the tool is useful for you, and we hope that you use it. And if you have any questions or comments in the future, then please use the contact information that we used previously. All right, thank you.